contents of the Artist Elite Mat Cutter are a baseboard, a hinging guide rail that features a scaled production stop, a parallel mat guide in aluminum channels, a squaring bar, and a measuring bar with a production stop. It features a pull-style bevel cutting head with a start and stop indicator, an anti-crawl button, and nylon guides that allow the cutting head to hook onto the guide rail. It also features a 3-depth position straight cutter. This also has guides that allow it to hook onto the guide rail, plus extra blades. To install the aluminum mat guide channels, find the rounded end and insert that into the middle of the board. Flip the board over and use the installation screws from the bottom to tighten the mat guide channels into place. To install the mat guide, make sure that both knobs are loosened slightly, and with pressure down on the knobs, drop both sides of the mat guide into the channels at the same time. To install the squaring bar, press the squaring bar into the board slot and secure into place by tapping lightly with a rubber mallet. To install the measuring bar, locate the alignment pin into the hole and press in. To install a blade into the pull-style bevel cutting head, first loosen the retaining screw on the back of the cutting head. Then loosen the blade knob. Insert one blade sharp side down into the blade holder. Then retighten the blade knob. Rotate the blade holder down and retighten the retaining screw. To adjust the blade depth on the 702 bevel cutter, find the blade depth adjustment screw on the bottom of the cutting head. Using a screwdriver, turn the screw clockwise to decrease the blade depth, or counterclockwise to increase the blade depth. See that the blade is barely passing through the mat board and only scoring into the slip sheet. To install a blade onto the straight cutter, first remove the blade knob. Also remove the blade cover. Install a single blade sharp side down onto the blade holder. Then replace the blade cover and the blade knob. The straight cutter features 3 different depth settings for storage, standard thickness mat board, and 3/16 foam board. To downsize a piece of mat board, first remove the slip sheet and remove the parallel mat guide. Also remove the bottom production stop. Set the production stop on the measuring bar to the needed size. Insert a matte blank color side down into the machine, down against the squaring bar. To set the depth of the blade, loosen the blade knob and slide it to the standard thickness mat board setting. Hook the straight cutter onto the guide rail and pull straight back to make your straight cut. To bevel cut an opening in mat board, first set the parallel mat guide to the border size needed. In this example, 3 inches. Always ensure that you're using a slip sheet when bevel cutting. Insert a mat board blank color side down into the machine, up against the parallel mat guide and down against the squaring bar. And mark all 4 lines. Hook the cutting head onto the rail and align the start and stop indicator with the pencil line. Depress the anti-crawl button Rotate the blade in and release the anti-crawl button. Pull back to the bottom line. Repeat this process for the remaining 3 sides. After the 4th cut is made, the window will drop out and you will have a perfectly beveled mat. To cut a beveled mat using production stops, first set the parallel mat guide to the border size needed. In this example, 3 inches. Always use a slip sheet when bevel mat cutting. Also set the bottom scaled production stop to 3 inches. Insert a mat blank color side down against the parallel mat guide and mark a single line. Turn the mat counterclockwise and put it against the parallel mat guide and down against the squaring arm. Hook the cutting head onto the rail and align the start and stop indicator with the pencil line. Depress the anti-crawl button, rotate the blade in, release the button, and cut back until you reach the bottom stop. Repeat this process for the remaining 3 sides. As you continue to cut, use the cut line in the back of the mat to reference where to start. After the 4th cut is made, the window will drop out and you will have a perfectly beveled mat. To re-square an Artist Series mat cutter, first remove the mat guide, and then place a slip sheet into the machine. Now using an L-shaped carpenter square, place it down against the squaring bar. Lower the guide rail and slide the L-shaped carpenter square until it fits flush and tight along the side of the guide rail. If any gaps are seen, re-squaring is necessary. To adjust the guide rail, go to the far end of the machine and loosen the inside screw. Then loosen both screws on the near end of the machine. The guide rail will now be loose and can be repositioned to be flush along the L-shaped carpenter square. Gently lift the guide rail and retighten the screws. And retighten the screw at the far end. The machine is now square.